Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Q. You know who. Back, baby, with another video. Thank y'all for kicking it with your boy Q today. You ready to title the video, man? That's right. Let's go ahead and talk about this 12 wide, 10 wide, 14 wide, 16 wide, all that. Let's talk about it. Here we go. As we make this video, actually, I just found out that my rock lights are not coming on anymore. So I'm assuming that my fuse blew, maybe underneath the hood. So I probably gotta get a new fuse. I'll take a look at it, hit up Kevin and see what's going on. But yeah, none of them are coming on. But anyway, with that being said, guys, let's talk about this whole conversation. 10 wide, 12 wide, 14 wide, 16 wides. 14 wides look the best. Don't do 10, don't do 12, yada, yada, yada. What you have to understand, people you watching this video, not everybody has the same vision or idea for their truck. Not everybody wants to run 14 or 16 wides, you know? Some people like the look of the 10 wide, the practicality of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about some pros and cons of all of them. Now, disclaimer, I have not run 14 wides. I have never run 16 wides, but I have run 10 wides and 12 wides. So here we go. First thing, let's start with the 10 wides. You know, usually most people enter around 10 wides when they get in to lift the truck because that's usually what they know. I think now though, I think 12 and 14 is the standard, but 10 used to be the standard. Pros of the 10 wides, they're gonna be very practical. You can basically go anywhere with 10 wides. I had them on my truck for, what, 2 years, 3 years, and I took that truck to Louisiana. I'm basically anything like over 10 to 12 hours with 10 wides, guys, you won't have any problem. You'll be fine. You can fit in drive-throughs, you can fit in car washes, automatic car wash, you can fit in anything. Another thing we're running 10 wide, guys, you know, tires come in different sizes. So you got 35 by like 12 and a half by 20s, right? Let's say that for example. With those 35 by 12 and a halves, if you're running 10 wide wheels, you're gonna allow yourself a lot of protection for your wheel. So see here how my wheel, my tires cover my wheel. That way I don't have to worry about rubbing and scrubbing, right? Curbing my wheels. I don't have to worry about that because I'm on a 13.5 wide tire on a 12 wide wheel. So I got 1.5 inches of extra protection. When you run those 10 wides on a 12 wide tire, you're gonna have that extra protection as well. You won't have to worry about curbing your wheels. Along with that, with the 10 wide, guys, a lot more people can rotate 20 by 10s as opposed to 24 by 14s and 24 by 12s and 26s by like 16, 24 by 16, things like that. You can't find too many shops that can rotate those big wheels and tires. I'm telling you, I experienced it firsthand. I'm not lying to you. I cannot take my truck to Ford and get the tires rotated. They do not have the equipment for it. There's a few shops that do it, and I keep going to them. Hopefully they don't go out of business. I think Discount can do it too, actually. Yeah, they can. Discount can do it, but it depends on where you live. I'm in the city. I have plenty of places to go. If you're like a rural area and you're going something big, you're gonna have very limited options. You're running 20 by 10s on a 35 by 12 and a half. You have more options, right? You can have more shops that can actually cater to you and actually service your truck and tires. With the tires being said, you can find a 35 12 and a half easily. You can find a 37 or 35 14 and a half. Just right now, especially with everything going on, but with 35 by 12 and a half, to get you that protection you want on your 10 wides, you can find those almost anywhere. They're gonna be in stock, which leads me to my next point, price. They're gonna be a lot cheaper. 35 by 12 and a half, gonna be a lot cheaper than 37 by 13 5s. It just is what it is. More tire, more rubber, more supplies, more money. pretty much what it comes down to. Your 10 wides just allow you a little more leniency, you know, and you can actually don't feel the weight of the 10 wides as much as you feel like the bigger sizes. Like when I went to 37 24 by 12s over my 35 20 by 10s, dude, I can notice a huge difference in the weight. Let's talk about the front end components. Let's say 24 by 12, 24 by 14, or 24 by 10. When you go that much offset, you have to realize I'm on 24 by 12. If you go 14, you're gonna be sitting out by right here. So what that does, a lot of the weight of that tire is now sitting outside the frame, the components of the truck. So you're putting a lot of extra stress on those front end components, and you're gonna have to change them faster. But now with the 10 wides, they're not sticking out as far. They're still kind of close to the truck. They do have a slightly aggressive stance. So you will experience wear faster if you wear, let's say, stock, right? But not as fast if you go 12 wides or 14 wides. So just not as much faster wear as some of the bigger wheels and tires. Another thing you won't have to worry about is trimming. And unfortunately, like I said, my lights are not working, but you won't have to do as much trimming. You probably will have to do some trimming, but not as much as you would have to do with like 24 by 14, 24 by 16. You probably with 20 by 10s, you can get 10 wide wheels. You can probably get away with minimum trimming. If you don't really want to trim, I got guys hit me up all the time. Q, I want big wheels and tire, but I don't want to trim. I don't want to trim. If you're running some big 37s, 24x12, 24x14, 24x16s, you're gonna have to trim, man. It's just how it goes. Or you could go a lot higher with your lift kit. Those are options. It is what it is. Now, let's get to the cons, like running by some 20x10s or 22x10s. The only con I can think of, guys, is you won't have that stance. You won't have that big, wide, thick stance that you see super, super popular on the internet nowadays. That's probably like the only thing I can think of, honestly. Now, you ask me, do I prefer my new setup over my old setup? Absolutely. I'm not gonna sit here and fake the funk. I do like the way my 24x12 look over my 20x10s. I really do. But that's just my opinion. So everybody don't have the same taste or flavor. Everybody different. Some people might like the conservative 20x10 look. Yeah, so that's the 10 wide. Let's talk about 12 wide. With the 12 wides, like my truck here, let's talk about the pros. The pros are, you're still gonna be practical, right? I can pretty much take when I say take my truck anywhere, guys, I can still fit in most garages. I can go through drive-throughs. I can take this truck 6-8 hours and be fine, maybe 10, 12, probably further than that. I know a lot of y'all will be like, I can do that on my 24x14s. You can, trust me, but you probably don't want to. Let's keep it real. But my 24x12s, guys, I can pretty much go almost anywhere. I can still fit in drive-throughs. I can go to McDonald's. I can go to Taco Bell with no issues. I'm telling you, with 14 wides, bro, you go to some of these places, you and we'll get to that, you'll freaking around and curb your wheels if you don't have the right size tire on there anyway. So I don't have to worry about curbing my wheels with these 24x12s on a 13 wide tire, 13.5 wide tire. I just don't. So very, very practical. Not as practical as the 10 wides, but still practical to where it don't cause me a lot of issues. Next thing, it looks good. Now, it's not wide as a 14 wide, don't get me wrong. I'll show y'all the stance right there. And actually, I'm gonna tell y'all, my truck does not film well. When I mean film on camera, it doesn't film well. In person, it's a lot thicker than what you think, but it still looks good. You still got a nice stance. Trust me, going on the road with 12 wides, people are like, damn, that's a pretty big, thick truck. I'm telling you, so don't worry about not looking too thick. The only time you're gonna see you not too thick is when you pull it to somebody on 24x14s, you're on 24x12s, you're like, damn, I should've went thick. Thicker, I'm telling you. But other than that, I'm telling you, you're gonna be fine with the 12 wides. And here's the thing, if being wide is your thing and wanna run really, really look thick, guys, there's a pros and a con. The pro is, like, I'm on 13.5 tire. I can always go to like a 15 wide tire. I think my guy Blue Unit has like a 15 wide tire. Blue Unit is running a 38, 15, 5, 22. His trucks looks humongous. And it looks like he has a lot of stance, but it's just he's running a really, really fat tire. And you can do that with a 12 wide and look like you're running 14 wides. You can overcompensate it, but the con to that is the price of a 15 wide tire, guys, is a little bit more expensive. Another thing about running the 24x12, guys, is I can still find a tire in my size. So like I said, I'm running 37, 13.5. I can still run a 37, 12.5 and still have protection. I won't be stretching, you know what I'm saying? So I won't have to worry about curbing my wheels. So there's still plenty of tire options for you to give you that protection that you want to. So as you keep moving up in these sizes, that option is come smaller and smaller. That window is smaller and smaller. We'll talk about that here in a second. Let's talk about some of the cons. Some of the cons are running 12 wides. I'm talking about my setup particular, 37, 24x12s. And I hate that my route lights aren't working. That's really bugging me. I chose a video at nighttime to have it light up, but it's not working. The second con is, it looks good and thick, but again, it's not the look of a 14 wide. I'm gonna be real with you. I've been around some 14 wide, 16 wide trucks. When I pull up my 12 wides, I look tiny. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. So it doesn't give you that look of the 14 wides. But if you go back to what I said, you can buy some wider tires and still get that same look without going 14 wide. So that's really the only con. It just doesn't look as good as 14 wide. But when you by yourself rolling, it looks good. When you pull up somebody on 14 wide, you're like, damn. I kind of already touched on this. Next point is, you're gonna find less shops that can rotate and balance your tires. Like I said, I cannot take my truck to the Ford dealership to get the tires rotated and balanced. It's just not gonna happen. So you limit yourself an option who can service your vehicle when it comes to rotating and repairing your tires and things like that. The next thing is, you're gonna have to do some trimming and cutting, and I had to do quite a bit of trimming and cutting. My front crash bars are gone down there. Let me get a light for y'all. My front crash bars are gone. My rear was slightly trimmed off. And they also trimmed the bumper right here, as y'all can see right there. And I'm on coilovers, guys, so these are raised up. So that's what I had to do to get mine to fit. You know, you may not have that issue, but that's what I had to do to get mine to fit, and that's actually distracting. There we go. That's what I had to do to get mine to fit. So y'all can see I'm like a sweating boy. Another thing is, you're gonna probably most likely get a lot more debris and stuff thrown up on your truck when you run in the wider stance because they're sitting so much further out from the wheel well. You're just gonna get dirty a lot more. You're gonna get rock chips. I have gotten all that down the side of my truck. It just comes with the territory. Those are the pros and cons of 12 wides. Now let's talk about 14 wides. All right, big 14 wide, 24 by 14s. Let's talk about all the pros of 24 by 14. And I'm gonna start with and finish with, it looks good. That is it. That is the only pro about running 24 by 14s. It looks good in person, it looks good on social media, and the truck is gonna have one hell of a stance. That is the only pro. That's it. I really can't think of another one. If you can, please let me know down in the comments. That's it. That's all the pro. Let's move on to the cons. And my list for the cons is pretty freaking long. One, you're gonna do a lot more trimming and cutting to get those 24 by 14s on like a 35 by 15, 14 tire to fit. Two, most likely if you can't get it to trim, you're gonna rub, right? You're gonna rub. You probably get a turn and a half and you're gonna start rubbing. So you gotta either trim a lot more, which probably still won't help, or you gotta get a taller lift kit. You gotta go 7 to 9 inch FTS lift, something like that, a little more expensive. Look, the 30 with 12 wides, you can probably get away with a 6-inch rough country, raise it up a little bit, amount of trimming. With 24 by 14s, you're gonna rub unless you go a taller lift kit. It just is what it is. Another con, you can't fit many places. You're gonna have trouble going through drive-throughs. You won't fit car washes. My boy has a 24 by 14, the black truck y'all see on 14.5 tires. Can't go through car washes. There's only one he found that can fit, and he found it luckily. But the one I went to, he couldn't fit. Drive-throughs, you might be too wide. You can't fit. You got to get out and go into the store. Now, this might sound like first world problem. I'm just saying the convenience of having 14 wides may not always be the best thing, right? That's all I'm trying to say here. You can definitely get out and go, well, I'll get some steps in. I feel you. But it's just you have less. It's just more of a nuance to have to get out and do all that and not go through drive-thrus and things like that. Did I say nuance? I meant nuisance. Or it's just more of a pain. Sheesh. Now let's talk about tires. When you're running a 24 by 14, guys, there are only a few companies that make tires that run either 14 wide or larger, 14 to 15 wide. I think there's Nitto, Toyo, Versatire, and Fury. Other than that, guys, a lot of companies don't make a tire that's 14 to 15 wide. So your options to find a tire is going to be super, super limited. And it's going to be a lot more expensive, I'm telling you. So the price of those tires to run a wider tire is more expensive. You have less options to choose from. And I can tell you right now, my boy, he was talking about the price of the tire just to get it. I think it was like 4 or 5 bands just to get tires, you know what I'm saying? And that's with the proper protection. He's on a 24 by 14. His wheels are 36 by 14 and a half or 15. With that being said, you can stretch. What I mean by stretch is your wheel is sticking out further than your tire. But guess what? When you're going through that drive-through, curb your $4,000 or $5,000 wheels that you just had to have, but you can't find a tire that fits over them to protect them. So now you got curb rash all on your freaking wheels. You think you're looking clean, but you got curb rash. I'm just saying, I'm not hating, I'm just telling you it is. That's just what it is. So you limit your option with tires. If you don't get the right side, you risk getting curb rash. Just a limitation. There's a very big limitation there. And the expense is a lot more. And as I said with the 12 wides here, you're gonna have less shops that can rotate your tires, guys. That just is what it is. Less shops can handle something that big. And I'm trying to wrap this video quick, guys. I'm out here running out of sunlight. I'm showing y'all where I'm at. Look at this, dark. I know that's a street light, but it's super not good. So as I said, it's kind of a progression, right? When I mean progression, so next thing you're gonna worry about 14 wides, as I said earlier, the further you get that mass away from the truck, the faster those front end components are going to wear down, guys. So it's a progression from 10 wides is gonna wear, 12 wear faster than 10s, and then 14s wear faster than 12s. And it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. You're gonna be fine. Just be prepared to replace some of those front end components faster if you were on a 14 wide as opposed to a 10 wide. But you are gonna get a lot more debris flying up side of your truck because now you're sitting like way out, you know, as opposed to the 10 and 12 wides. Yeah, you're just, that stance is way out there, so you're throwing a lot of debris and mud and rocks up side of your truck. So yeah, just keep that in mind too. Hope this come out well. The last one is going to be 16 wides. And only thing about 16 wides, the only pro is they look good. They look good, and some people even think, I think they look great. They're me speaking. But some people think 16 wide look goofy. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Some people think 16 wides are just too wide. That's the only pro. Cons, basically everything I just said about 14 wides, and everything I just said about 14 wides, 16 wides, and multiply by like 2. That's it. That's the only thing. I ain't gonna go through that whole list. Just multiply. You just enhance, increase. All the front end components wear faster. You ain't fitting nowhere. You definitely ain't finding a tire that can fit, so you're gonna have to deal with curb rash unless you're just a great driver. Forget going through drive-thrus. Forget going through car washes. Like I said, some of these may not be an inconvenience for you, but to, you know, whatever, it is to each his own. I want to make that quick video because the truck community can be very toxic sometimes and tell you, a lot of new people, that you need 14 wides, you need 16 wides, like mainly 24x14s. Like 12s are ugly, don't do 10s. And so I want to let you know, it's your choice what you want to do in your look. I keep telling people this, not everybody likes the same look, man. And so if somebody wants to put 10 wides on their truck, let them put 10 wides. Somebody want to put 14 wides, they can run 14 wide. They want to put 16, let them run 16. That's their preference. I just don't like when somebody puts something on their truck and somebody tell them that their truck is ugly or doesn't look right, because that's what you want on your truck. Don't mean that person want that on their truck, right? So anyway, man, that's all I got. I made the video. It's getting dark. Let me get the hell up out of here. Figure out my rock light situation. Probably another video. But that's all I got. Your boy Q. I'm sweaty. I'll catch y'all on the next one, baby. Peace.